Hi, welcome back. My name is Savannah and this is my little crafty update video. This is a mid-month, yes, it's a mid-month update. Just letting you know what I've been working on since my last video. And to be honest, I probably should start taking notes so that I don't forget anything, since it's more like a two and a half week time period between each video, and I was trying to gather everything, and I feel like I'm probably missing some stuff, but it is what it is. So I didn't grab everything that I've touched, but for the most part, everything is here. It's not much because my family and I took a trip to Texas last week. We went for 5 days. It was a fun time. We went for the eclipse. My husband really wanted to see a total eclipse, so we made the trip. None of us have ever been to Texas before, so we made it a quick trip. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about that real quick, and then we'll go ahead and get into knitting while I finish working on this row. I have a row, and before I show you this. So Texas, we left last Friday, the 5th. I believe it was the 5th. Yeah. So we left Friday the 5th. We drove from Colorado to Texas. We kind of broke it up. The first leg was 6 hours, about 6 hours drive. What do I want to say? So I got to see parts of Colorado I had never seen before, because I typically don't go south. There's no need for me to go south. I was shocked that it was actually a bit more beautiful than I expected it to be, especially right on the border of New Mexico. I have really just expected it to be flat, brown and dry, and nothing of interest, but the border was really beautiful. Actually, there was a pass that we had to go through, so we're almost at 8,000 feet there. But anyways, so we drove down south, went into New Mexico, and then cut over into Texas, and we stopped in Amarillo. We have friends who used to live here who now live in Amarillo, so they let us stay with them. So we stayed with them for 2 nights so that we could hang out with them. They could show us Amarillo. We had a good time. It was very windy, very windy in Amarillo. The skyline just looked like a big dust bowl. That's how windy it was. But we managed to, we got to go see Route 66. My son has been a little, well, no, I wouldn't say a little obsessed. He was very curious about it a while back. I mean, he likes Disney cars, so he was curious about it. So I figured, let's see 66. Let's do what we can. So we went to the little visitor center they had there, and took some pictures with the sign. So we did that, and then they also, in Amarillo, there's something called Cadillac Ranch, and that's also featured in the Cars movie. Not the way that it looks in person, but they turned Cadillac Ranch into a like rock formation in the movie, which was kind of cool. But Cadillac Ranch is just this little area off the highway, with 10 Cadillacs just sitting out of the ground like this, and they're completely spray painted.
Mom's gonna paint. Get over here, Lev.
we went and did that. The videos videos and photos that I am inserting were just to show how absolutely windy it was. It was fun though. So we did that, and then we also went and ate at a place called the Big Texan. If you've heard of it, you know. If you haven't, it was absolutely fantastic. It's very kitsch. It's this big steakhouse. This big steakhouse. It has a gift shop, and it has this fancy little challenge. Fancy. Oh, excuse me. That's a challenge. It was funny too, because they have the table for the challenge is on a platform in the middle of the dining hall, so everybody can watch. But it's hilarious. So what it is that if you can eat a 72-ounce steak, a baked potato, a salad, a dinner roll, and I believe a shrimp cocktail, like it's like fried shrimp. I think it's 3 or 6 shrimps. I can't remember, but if you can eat all of that in an hour, you get that meal for free, which is crazy. There's no way I could ever manage to eat all that. Granted, I wouldn't want to because I don't like baked potatoes, and so I knew, but either way, it was funny. Did not try that, of course. On the menu at this restaurant, they actually have like the little blurb of the fastest time this meal has ever been eaten. And it was actually a small, like a woman smaller than me. She's just a little housewife, I guess. That's all that really says. Her weight, her status, like her employment status, just stay-at-home mom. She did it in 4 minutes and 58 seconds. And then she went on and did it like 2 or 3 more times. Not at the same time, but actually beat the hour doing it several more times. Like, what in the world? I got myself a 12-ounce steak that was absolutely delicious, and I couldn't even finish it. So, absolutely crazy. There was somebody doing it while we were leaving. They had about 30 minutes left, and you could tell he was not going to get it done. My husband went to actually talk to him real quick, and he said that it was very bland. Like they did not season the steak at all. So that is unfortunate, but I believe it's like an $80 meal if you can't finish it. So to me, that doesn't feel that bad of a price for a 72-ounce steak and all the sides. So anyway, so we did that. It was great. I got a t-shirt because the gift shop, I'm very much into the, you know, like little souvenirs, especially since I don't ever see myself going back to Texas for anything. I wouldn't say it was terrible. It was a lot nicer than I thought it was gonna be. Granted, I had to continuously remind myself that it's still spring. It was early April. The weather is only nice because it is springtime. But yeah, so we did that. And then after 2 nights with our friends, we drove another 6 hours to Dallas, Fort Worth area for the eclipse. And we stayed in Arlington, but we tried to do as much as we could while we were there. Like, we just filled it full. So we drove the 6 hours from Amarillo to Dallas, Fort Worth. So we got up early, drove those 6 hours, and immediately stopped at the Fort Worth Zoo, just so that we could fit it in, because we were on a very tight schedule. So we immediately stopped at the Fort Worth Zoo and then did that for like 3 hours. So it was a very busy day, but that wasn't even it. We did the zoo, which was lovely. Again, the weather was fantastic. And it's crazy to think. So where I live in Colorado, our elevation is about 6,000, maybe 6,500. And Dallas is 570. So it was definitely nice. Like it felt pretty good. What else did we do? That evening after the zoo, we went and checked into our hotel, and then we went to the Fort Worth Water Gardens, which is just in the middle of the downtown area. And it is just a bunch of concrete, you know, everywhere, but they have water features. Like they had 3 different pools. Like one was called the Quiet Pool, and it was just, you walk down some stairs and you can walk around this quiet water and everybody has to be quiet. Next one was like another little pool type thing, but it had a bunch of jets, so it was like misting all over the place. And then the last one, I forgot what it was called, but it was like these waterfalls kind of thing, and there was these steps that you could walk down into it, walk around, and then walk back up. I did not do that because of the way that it was laid out, but my family did it. And I just watched from the top. So we did that. They also had a thing called the Mountain, which had no water to it, but it was giant blocks of concrete that were like this big, and then you just walk up it. It hurt my thighs really badly, but I did it. So yeah, we did that, and then we went and found dinner, and we stopped at a Walmart to get, gosh, what did we get? I don't even know. Oh, water. We needed water. Texas water does not taste good compared to Colorado water, so we needed to get some water. We ended up going to the Walmart that was close to our hotel, which is actually right next door to the Cowboys Stadium, the AT&T Stadium, Dallas Cowboys, which we didn't know it was right next to the stadium. Like, we could see the stadium from our hotel, but we didn't know the Walmart was right there, and it was probably the fanciest Walmart I'd ever been to. It was funny. They even have a baseball and a football on top of the building. Like just a giant concrete replica of these, because it's also right next to the Texas Rangers baseball field. So yeah, it was very fancy. So that was just day one in Dallas Fort Worth. And then of course the next day was the eclipse. So we were really nervous because the weather was pretty iffy in the forecast for that day, but we got up, decided to go to McKinney, which is about an hour north of Dallas, because I wanted to go to McKinney Knittery, which was absolutely gorgeous. It's right on the strip, like main strip of their historic downtown, and it was so beautiful. I was in love. I was in love with the whole street and the yarn shop. It was so gorgeous. I did buy something, which I'll show later in my little acquisition section. I did not get any photos in the shop because I was just, I don't get overwhelmed. I don't think it was overwhelmed. It's just when I bring my family to a yarn store, I feel bad for them. So I try to make my shopping as quickly as possible, you know, so then they're not waiting around. Like if it was just me by myself, I would have taken as much time, and then I would have probably gotten photos, and, you know, I would have just, but because they were with me, I try to do, you know, because I make a plan of what I'm going in for kind of thing. At least with this one, I did. I had a plan, went in, did what I could, looked around, squished all the good stuff that I can't see in person here, and then made my purchases, and then we left. But it was so wonderful. By the time we were done there, we had to drive back into Dallas. Let's see. Yeah, because we didn't wake up super early, because we left a little late. So yeah, after McKinney, we went back into Dallas to go view the solar eclipse. So my husband had gotten tickets to an event that was for free in the Cotton Bowl. It's a football stadium for college, you know, the bowls, if you are a football fan. But we did that. We stayed there, watched it. We were a little nervous because in the morning it was overcast. By the time we got to the Cotton Bowl, it was partly cloudy, but the clouds were moving kind of fast and it kept going in front of the sun. And so we were getting a little nervous that it was going to get really cloudy as the total eclipse was going to happen, but we got really, really lucky. So as the moon went right over the sun, you could faintly see it through the cloud because the cloud was starting to disperse. And then eventually, like almost immediately, the cloud disappeared and we got the entire full time of the total eclipse, which was probably one of the most fascinating things to see. Ever. It was so fun just being able to look up at the sun and just seeing this black hole in the sky. You could see a solar flare and how dark it got. It was just absolutely beautiful. My husband was so thrilled that he got to see it that now he's like, I want to see all of them. And I'm just like, okay, well, the next one in 2026 is in Iceland, so maybe we could go. I doubt it, but I know he's really excited to see more. So the next one that happens, if you followed any of the information, was, I think it's 2045. That's actually going to pass through here where we live in Colorado. If we're still here in Colorado, I mean, we're going to be old farts by then, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. But after that, the next morning, it was our time to drive back. We decided we were going to drive back and stay one more night in Amarillo so that we could just break up the trip. So we did the 6 hours back to Amarillo, put it down. Oh, before we got there, we took a minor detour to go to a Buc-ee's. There's a lot less Buc-ee's in Western Texas than you might think. Like, we actually had to take a detour, like a 20-minute detour just to get to a Buc-ee's before heading back to Amarillo. So we did that. That was crazy how absolutely massive that is. I got myself a pair of socks. So I have Buc-ee socks. But we did that. And then the whole drive back to Amarillo was absolutely downpouring. It just rained all the way from Dallas to Amarillo. And because of the rain and because of the eclipse traffic, every time we came to a small town, the traffic would build up and would put us 11 to 12 minutes back on our arrival time, which turned our 6-hour trip into about a 7-hour trip. But just absolutely downpoured. Oh, it wasn't fun. It was not a fun drive. So we did that, got to Amarillo, stayed the evening, and then made the rest of the trip the next morning back home. And that was a nice trip. There was, you know, sun, blue skies, easy trip. It's a really nice drive, actually. And in New Mexico, along the road that you take to get to Texas, there is an extinct volcano, which is pretty cool. It's just one big hill in the middle of all this flat land, and there's signs all over that say it's an extinct volcano. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. Then we got back home at a decent time, which is nice. I'm so used to doing 12+ hour road trips that doing it in 6 hours feels really, really doable and nice, and you don't feel like you're wasting your whole day in the car. So I was like, we got home, we did things, and I was like, we're going grocery shopping. So it was a really nice trip. And I know I talked for like 25 minutes now, and I'm really sorry, but I thoroughly enjoyed our trip. I didn't think I was going to be honest. But I did. I had a good time. Maybe because all my other trips lately have been for funerals. And again, 12 plus hours driving. This one felt really good. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into what I was working on and what I have purchased. Oh, I did bring 3 knitting projects with me. Well, 4. Brought 4 knitting projects with me to Texas, and I worked on 2 of them. Well, I touched 1 of them. Okay, so I worked on 3 of them. The 3rd one barely touched. But yeah, 1 of them didn't touch at all. The fourth one, that was, I didn't realize I was bringing with me. That one probably got the most work. Nah, 2 of them got the most work. Either way, let's just dive right in. This one didn't even go on the trip with me because I did not have the mental bandwidth to work on this on the trip. Wasn't very, at the time that we were leaving for the trip, I wasn't even excited to work on this. But it is my, what is this? The Night Shift Shawl by Andrea Mowry. I have 12 more rows to work on before finishing. 12 more rows. So that's where I was the last time I showed you, and I got all that done. And I was really starting to just not enjoy. I am ahead of schedule. I did not think I was going to be, but when I was looking at the pattern, I realized that section 9 is just like section 5. It's like half of a section. So I was able to get it done in one day, even though the rows are really long now. I was still able to get section 9 done in one day. So I'm ahead of schedule. And I'm actually trying to get this finished today. If I'm honest, that's my goal, get this finished today. So the yarn that I'm using is Noro Ito, which is 100% wool. This is what I got left. So this is supposed to use 6 colors of yarn, but I know a lot of people use Ito to knit this, and so I did 2, and they say you only need 2 balls of this yarn. So my idea was that I was going to work sections 1 through 5 with this being the background color and this being the little blips. And then after section 5, I was going to switch them, you know, so that the blips would be different colors kind of thing, even though these are pretty similar. Pretty similar. Well, I got to section 9. Did I do it before section 9 or did I do it after section 9? Before. Okay, so I got to the end of section 8 and I noticed that I was getting really low. This was the background color until from 6 to 8. And I was like, this is getting really low. This one still has quite a bit, so maybe I'll switch them back. So what I'm looking at here, I think that's what I did. Unless I did it after section 9. Sorry, yeah, I did do it after section 9. So when I started section 10, I switched them back. So this is now the background color again, and these are the bleps, because obviously the bleps take up less yarn. I'm thinking, unless these were, unless there was a discrepancy in yardage. The balls look the exact same size when I started. So I don't know. Either way. This is what I got. I'm hoping this is enough to finish. Again, 12 rows. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 12 rows. So I'm hoping that this finishes that up, because I use this for the I-cord bind off as well. So there should be plenty here. We will see. If I have to cut it short, I'm fine. I know a lot of people say to do one more section, like repeat section, to make it a little bit longer, but I know I can't do that. So I'm just going to go with what is written here in the pattern to the best of my ability and get this finished. yeah, this is what it looks like. My colors are 30 and 8. I don't know what those names are, but that's the colors that I have, is number 30 and number 8. What else can I say about it? Not much, really. I did feel a slog when I got in this area. Definitely getting sluggish, but I'm almost done. Gonna get it done. Needed to get it done. All right, what else? Okay, so one of the projects that I worked on while on the trip was my purse project. I'd forgotten I had this in my purse when I packed my project, so I had my purse project. And I didn't do a lot of knitting except for really in the car. And even then it wasn't a lot because I was so busy looking at the landscape. But I pulled out my, what is this, the Brownstone Beanie by Tori Yu. It's in black yarn. But I got the brim. I managed to finish the brim, and I don't have a progress keeper on this. Finish the brim and fold it in, you fold it in half and then knit it together kind of thing. You're not gonna be able to see any of it because it's so black, but yeah, what you do is, you know, you knit it twice as long as your, you know, and knit it together. And then now I am into the body of the hat. So this yarn is by Crow and Crescent. I don't have the tag here. It's Crow and Crescent yarns. It was from her spooky sock kit. I had originally started the sock, but I did not like the feeling of so it's cute. It's a pair of socks, and one sock says SPO and the other one says OKY in like pretty orange colors. But you do jacquard, ladderback jacquard because of the color work. And I did not like the feeling of that. It was extra thick right on the balls of my feet. So I decided to rip it out because that project had been sitting for like 2 years. So I decided to rip it out and use the yarn for the Brownstone Beanie by Tori Yu, which looks just like, you need 1 skein of fingering weight yarn. And it looks like a Carhartt hat. So I'm excited to have a black one and stash. So this is my purse project. So it doesn't get a lot of attention, but it did in the car driving to and from Texas. The other project that got a lot of progress, also mostly in the car. Again, I did not do a lot of knitting when we were in the hotel or when we were at our friend's house. I just didn't do it. But the other project is my Iskald by Caitlin Hunter. It is a tangled mess, but I got quite a bit done, guys. Here's where I'm at. So last time you saw, so where that is, I think that's before I split for sleeves, I think. Maybe right before. I can't remember. I have decided to do a lot of modifications to this sweater. So it's supposed to be a very oversized, very deep yoked raglan sweater. And I decided to change that a little bit. I did not want it as deep. I was also getting very sick of knitting it. I didn't want it as deep. So what I did was after, once you join it in the round at the V, that's when you have a bunch of repeats where you're doing increases on the body and the sleeve. And for my size, there was 12 repeats. So what I decided to do was actually drop down to the small size. I did the repeat number for the small size, and then you jump into a section where it's only increasing on the sleeve and not the body. And I think I dropped that down too. I say drop down, but really I did the medium size repeat of that because it was less than the small size. So I kind of did like a mismatch. I cast on for the medium, did the repeats for the increase for the small, and then I went back and did the repeats for the sleeve increase for the medium. But that's because, again, it's less than the small. So I don't know exactly how many stitches I have on my needles. Definitely doesn't match up with anything in the pattern, which is fine. It fits just fine. And I'm doing some decreases for the body because it does recommend, it's supposed to be a pretty long like tunic style sweater. So I am doing the decreases, but I'm not doing it after the recommended length in the pattern for my size because I don't think I'm going to knit it as long as the pattern. I think I'm just going to knit until I'm happy and then do the ribbing. And then again for the sleeve, since I'm sure the numbers are nothing like what it is, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pick up. Since it's raglan, I don't have to worry about it like a drop shoulder, picking up the right amount of stitches. So I'll just work here. I don't, again, for the body pickup, I'll have to view, no, I think it's been a really long time since I've done a raglan. So I think I should be able to just pick up everything and be fine, and then see what the, if there's decreases or anything like that for the sleeve. But yeah, also you might notice I put a tag in here. Not that I needed one in here because you can tell the front to the back, but I ordered myself some sew-in tags for my garments because a lot of my sweaters, especially like drop shoulders, I have a hard time telling what's the front and the back. I have to really like look where, like if it's a drop shoulder, if it has like a fancy like seam that goes down the back shoulder, or I have to check where short rows are. So I got myself some tags. So it just says my name and then it says handmade. And it's like Savannah Morse, handmade. There's a little skein of yarn. And then on the back side, I have, it says hand wash only and dry flat, and then I have a section for size. So I wrote medium because most of my stuff is a medium. So yeah, that way I can put them in all my hand knit stuff. Love that. And in case, you know, I sell or give away, others know who it's from, what size it is, and how to care for it. So yarn is Holskarn Super Soft in the colorway Jasper, and Drops Kid Silk. Oh, I can tell you the color number. Number 17. I forgot. I know I wrote it. I looked at it the other day, the color name, but I can't remember. So this is what Jasper looks like. The lighting is not perfect. And then here's the Drops Kid Silk. So those two together, making this pretty maroon color. It's nice and bright. So yeah, these were my most, because this was pretty easy working in the round. I was able to just, you know, work. So that's, oh, the other project that I brought. So I brought this one, which is the Elizabeth blouse by Petite Knit. And then the other one was my Clearview cardigan. It has not been touched at all. I'm gonna get this done first and then maybe go back to that. We'll see. I want to, I really do. It's just, I think I got a little bit burnt out with all the struggles, or well, all the stress of it, honestly. Not even knitting the cables or anything like that. It was just the stress of the fit and stuff like that. But the only other one I brought with me is, and I'm in the middle of a round. That's okay. The Elizabeth blouse by Petite Knit. Last time I showed you, I think, I'm pretty sure, because I have a progress keeper. I'd finished the collar, and then I did the short rows, and now I'm just doing the increases for the raglan, which is really pretty. It's a really dark color. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm sorry, but I have raglans. It's a 3-stitch raglan, which is really pretty. It's very defined in this yarn, but I'm in the middle of a row. This is all I've gotten. I put probably like 3 or 4 rows on this while we were gone, and maybe once we came back too. I don't know. Yarn is that's all I have left of the first 2 balls because I just wound them together, but this is Knit Picks palette in the Bittersweet colorway. It's 100% Peruvian Highland wool, I think. Yep, so this is all of this. So the collar is double folded, or well, it's, you know, double layered. I actually worked it in the round, like a toe of a sock, but it's double thick. So all of that with the first 2 balls, and I have 6 balls total. I'm pretty sure I'll have to buy more, but it actually got me a lot further than I expected it to, which is nice. So we'll see, you know, obviously it's going to get bigger and wider, so I'll probably have to order another 4 balls maybe. So that's it that I have to show you for progress on anything that I've knit. I need to get moving because I got to get to work soon. So I will not be able to continue working on this until I get back. But acquisitions, let's go ahead and dive right in. We're going to go ahead with the acquisitions from McKinney Knittery because these were exciting. Again, a very beautiful, beautiful shop. It wasn't just yarn, but on the other side of the shop was all quilting stuff, which was absolutely fantastic. If I lived in McKinney, that would be the place I go all the time because I do like to sew as well. I used to make quilts all the time before I got back into knitting, and I do like to sew my own clothes, so it would have been a dangerous place to be actually. But we went in. I went in with a plan. I kind of knew what I already wanted. Again, that's just how I work, especially if I know I have to go shopping with my family. I kind of go in with a plan. So we went in, and then I realized that they had more yarns that I have never seen in person but have wanted to. Like they had the Rare Naturum, which I had never seen in person. But they didn't have the color I wanted in that yarn, so I left it alone. I did not need 2 sweater quantities of yarn. But man, so pretty! They had La Bien-Aimée, they had Sanascarn, they had some things I don't think I've ever heard of before. But it was so lovely to see European yarns. That's something I wish my local yarn store carried more of, but it is what it is. So I went in, had a plan, did some snooping, did some math, and I walked out with a big old bag of stuff. Ooh, I forgot one thing downstairs, but it's okay. I can just tell you about it. It's not yarn. But I got this bag. I thought, you know, if you are a knitter or crocheter, I'm sure you've heard of this little saying. It's so cute. So it says, stab him, strangle him, pull his guts out, throw him off a cliff. So when you knit, if you're, I don't know why you would be watching this if you're not a knitter or a crocheter, but yeah, like the way that you knit or crochet, you're pretty much doing that. You're stabbing the stitch. You're gonna wrap your yarn over, so you're strangling him. You're gonna pull that yarn through, which is pulling out his guts. And then you take that old stitch off your needle or your hook. And that's throwing him off a cliff. And that says McKinney Knittery in McKinney, Texas. So I thought it was funny, but I really liked the size of this bag. And it was a lot cheaper than I expected this bag to be. There was no price tag on it when I grabbed it, but I knew I wanted it. And it was, so I checked the receipt when we left, and it was way less than I thought. I think I paid 15 bucks for the bag. And I could have sworn I thought this bag was gonna be at least $25, $30, but it's really good. I really like it. So in here, let's see here. So I went in because I really wanted to get some Sanascarn Sunday, and I really wanted this color. So I have a plan for this sweater. So this is the Sunday, and it's one of the petite knit colorways. This is 2114 banana. This is the banana colorway. They did not have tin silk mohair, unfortunately. Like no tin silk mohair at all. But I don't think Sanascarn has banana in tin silk mohair. But So I got enough to hold this double because I have a plan. I am going to knit the Brady Loops sweater by Other Loops in this. And that's all because I was looking through project pages for that sweater and I came across this one lady. I wish I remember what her name is, but I will show everything here on the screen. She made the most beautiful yellow Brady Loops. And I can't find the wool that that lady used in this picture. I cannot find that anywhere at all to buy. So my next shot was this Senna's Garn Petite Knit in Banana. I know it's a little bit paler than the color that she used, but and the one she used also is a wool alpaca blend, which would have been really lovely, but I'm going to use this for my sweater. I've already swatched. I actually put this, I don't have my swatches, they're downstairs, but I put my needles in for that. But either ways, I got 10 balls of this. I bought out their entire stock. They even checked in the back because I believe I'm going to need 12 balls, to be honest. But all I had was 12 in stock, and so I bought all of it. It was $105 for 10 balls of this, so not terrible. They're $10.50 each. And then I also got myself a little souvenir stitch marker. You will not be able to see that, I'm pretty sure. It just says McKinney Knittery on it, with 2 knitting needles. So this cute little stitch marker. And then I also bought myself a bar of Tuft Woolen sock soap. I have never seen that in person. I know a lot of people talk about it, so I decided to grab a bar of that as well. And I got the fresh garland smell, frosted garland smell. It smells so good. I have it sitting on my yarn shelf downstairs so that it just, when you walk past, you get a big whiff of it. It's like, oh, it smells so good. It smells like Christmas. But yeah, I think this is gonna get started soon, so that just doesn't languish and then my heart changes its mind about the yarn. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this started relatively soon. But oh, I'm so happy. I'm going to be honest, when I first looked up yarn stores to visit when we went to Dallas Fort Worth, my first pick was Knit Dallas, because they also carried a lot of European yarns as well, and it was only going to be about 30 minutes from the hotel. But unfortunately, they were closed on Monday. Like, they just aren't open on Monday. We were leaving Tuesday morning, and then we wouldn't have been able to manage that because they opened late on Tuesdays. And then, well, later than what we had planned to leave. And then they closed earlier than I thought when we got into Texas. Because like I said, well, not into Texas, but into Dallas area, the DFW area. I thought they closed at 5. And so we did, we traveled, we did the zoo. I thought we were gonna have time to go after that, but they actually closed at 4, so on Sunday. So I had to do some researching, and that's when I came across McKinney Knittery, which I've heard of through Nitty Natty, Natalie of Nitty Natty. I've heard of McKinney Knittery. So I decided to look it up to see what they sold, and when I saw that they had Santa's Garn, I was like, yep, we can do that. We can do that. So we did. The other yarn stores that were closer to our location didn't have anything like this. They carried a lot of the same stuff that they have here in my town. So that's just one of my criterias when I travel and I'm gonna go see a yarn store. It has to have stuff that I don't see here, which is a lot of Malabrigo, a lot of Emma's yarn, a lot of Blue Sky Fiber, and what else do they carry? Plymouth Yarn, Cascade, a lot of the normal stuff. So that was exciting. And then when we got home, I purchased some more yarn from Joann's. They were having I was watching a Scarla on YouTube. I forgot what her YouTube channel is called. I was watching her channel and she was talking about her haul from Joann's that she did. And she showed one yarn that I didn't know Joann's carried, didn't know actually existed. But when she told me when she told her audience the content of the yarn, I was like, oh, I should probably go look that up. And come to find out, Joann's was having a big sale on it. So I bought 2 sweaters quantity of this yarn for 50 bucks. It's a really good deal. And it's good yarn content. I don't know if the yarn itself is good, you know, like well wearing and stuff like that, but I couldn't pass it up. Being $30, it was $30. My coupon on my thing was weird because one coupon says it was 23 something and then the other coupon says it was 29 something for each sweater's quantity. Either way, I only paid 51 bucks for both. So there is that. I got 2 sweaters quantities of this yarn. This is actually Eddie Bauer. I did not know Eddie Bauer did yarn and that Joann sold it. But what got me was again, the content. This is an 80% extra fine merino superwash alpaca blend. So 80% extra fine merino superwash, 20% alpaca. It is 277 yards per 100 grams, and it is a DK weight. So I got it in the bright white colorway, and I got it in the pale pink colorway. I got 5 skeins each. That should be enough for me to make a sweater. I don't have any plans for these yet, but if I don't ever come up with anything, I can always do the No Frills by Petite Knit, which I haven't made one yet, but I would really like to. And I think having a white one or a pink one would be really lovely. I do wish they would have had a pale yellow in this yarn, because then I could have done the Brady loops with that and then used either way, because you know it's a merino alpaca blend. It would have been so lovely and fluffy and soft. There's a slight halo. I don't think you see a slight halo. It is a little sheddy, so I mean, I'm still hoping for the best because of the content, but it's soft, it's lovely. So, and for the price, you can't beat that, right? 2 sweaters for 50 bucks. It's about how much you pay in the store actually for a ready-made one, but either way, yeah, I gotta go get ready for work. I think that is everything that I wanted to talk about today. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your month. The rest of my month's very, very busy, So we will talk about that at the end of the month. Yes, at the end of the month with all my updates and, you know, my stats and all that jazz, but yep. All right. I really appreciate you being here. If you made it this far, can you please give me a like, subscribe if you want to see more. I did find out that to raise your views, well, not views, but just like get your videos pushed out from the algorithm or whatnot, however you want to say it, I need more likes so that more people can see this video. So if you don't mind just clicking it, that's all you have to do. It's free, I promise. I'd greatly, greatly appreciate it. So you go ahead and have a wonderful rest of your month, and I will see you May 1st or around that time. Bye.